our tryst with Telugu theatre. Mr. G. Udyabhanu, director, actor, and a much respected Telugu theatre personality, talks about its rich heritage and history.
We are listening to Sri Udyabhanu sir, a distinguished name in Telugu theatre, along with Sri Shopon Mondol, a noted theatre personality from Hyderabad. From the 19th century, we have come to a point where the entrepreneurship theatre companies have shut down due to various reasons, and Parishad Theatre has come into being with its goods and not so goods. Gradually, after the Andhra Pradesh state is formed, the focus slowly started to shift from Chennai to Hyderabad, even in the case of Telugu theatre. Uday sir will take us through the journey of Telugu theatre in the newly formed state of Andhra Pradesh.
Okay. Mandali, do you want to add anything?
Yeah. I want to add actually this. I am interested that say this Andhra theatre and in how this Telugu theatre, the journey of Telugu theatre from the Andhra to Hyderabad. That's as you said that Hyderabad it didn't have any the theatre culture. This because it's a Nizam state, and so that this theatre activity was not so much in there. There's some comedy shows and classical musics and dance programs, and we know about that. Government organizations, all government, and you told this amateur club in Secretariat, this first amateur club for theatres. Then, what are the contribution of this theatre, this government organizations, not only this the state government, even this so many central government, there's this income tax, this, as you said, the BSNL, as you said, the railways, and how they have contributed this in this Hyderabad theatre.
Okay. See, all these clubs that have been formed in these government organizations like Secretariat, Railways, or Accountant Generals, or Income Tax, we look at them as any other theatre group elsewhere, like your Shudraka or Bhumika. The only point here is because they are all employees of one organization, they have that facility to join together and work together. So, except for their being a theatre group and participating in the regular parishads that happen all over Andhra Pradesh, not much is happening except for some occasional good productions that they all mounted. Okay, so let me continue from there. And if you look at this Parishad scene, there are many Parishads in the Andhra region, not many in Telangana region. Very few, handful of Parishads are happening in Telangana region, even in those days. Even in Hyderabad, there are hardly 2 or 3. Okay, for example, there is this Andhra Lalita Kala Samiti, the railway organization, they used to conduct a competition. And Secretariat people also have conducted a competition, but I don't think they were regular enough. And AG's offices, they have conducted some parishads. But for this, there's not much of a contribution in that sense, except for there being another theatre group. Okay, so here I want to tell you one thing. I came in 1979 November to Hyderabad. By the time I came here, there are at least 30 to 35 theatre groups active in Hyderabad, Telugu theatre groups. Okay. Of course, there are some handful of groups, non-Telugu theatre groups. At that time, even this Babban Khan with his play
Adrak Ki Panja.
Adrak Ke Panje was very popular.
Popular.
Was touring all over the world. Okay. And there is this Qadar Ali Beg Foundation. That foundation has been recently formed, but actually for the father, I think his name is Qadar Ali Beg. He was running a theatre group, and also there is a group called Rangadhara by Bhaskar Shivalkar, who used to do plays in Hindi and Marathi. Okay. And these are the names which I can recall at this moment. Sorry if I forgot any group's names. So, 80s was the period when this TV is emerging as another media. Okay. So at that time, in the beginning, there was only Doordarshan, and Doordarshan has created enough craze among the theatre artists, because many theatre actors who are working in theatre, they wanted to be seen in the small screen, on the small screen. So the primary reason being that there is money in that, and another thing is the exposure from the small screen. And this, and later with some political leaders making some conscious effort to bring our Telugu cinema industry to Hyderabad, they have given subsidies and lands to some film personalities like Akkine Nageswara Rao, Rama Naidu, and B. Madhusudan Rao, and all these people. So they consciously made effort to bring the film industry to Andhra Pradesh, Hyderabad, not Andhra Pradesh, Hyderabad. Okay. As with any other change, there was a lot of resistance. Actually, to briefly talk about film industry, Akkine Nageswara, of course, there was Sarathi Studios, which was the oldest studio in Hyderabad. There was Bhagyanagar studio and also. But later, with the kind of encouragement that he got from the government, Akkine Nageswara was the first person to set up his studio, Annapurna Studio in Hyderabad. And he was the first person to initiate the shift from Chennai to Hyderabad. But it took, I think, almost a decade for others to follow and come to Hyderabad and start making films in Hyderabad. And later, slowly, it happened, and the film industry has shifted to Hyderabad. So why, you may ask, why this aspect is necessary for theatre? It is very necessary. Because as I said in the beginning, there were about 30 to 35 theatre groups in Hyderabad in 80s. But after the increase of number of channels, TV channels, and also after the shifting of the film industry to Hyderabad, suddenly the theatre artists, they felt even the film industry was very hungry for actors and actresses. Even the channels were very hungry. So they all absorbed whoever are there working in theatre into their fold. So very, very quickly, the number of groups have come down. Now, there are hardly about 5 to 6 active groups in Hyderabad. 5 to 6 active groups. So suddenly there was a dearth of theatre activity. So this is all caused by the shifting of this film industry and boom of television channels and all that. So suddenly there was a kind of vacuum in theatre scene in Hyderabad. But that was not the case in other cities, other towns and big towns like Rajahmundry, Vijayawada and all that. Okay. So this was the case with Hyderabad. So okay, let me talk briefly about some of the major productions of Telugu theatre field. Firstly, as yesterday Swapan was mentioning about Kanya Sulkam. Kanya Sulkam is the written by one of our stalwart literary figures, Gurzad Apparao. It's about a custom which was prevalent at that time, where the brides are sold, unlike today's situation where bridegrooms are sold. Okay. In those days, the brides are in a very much demand and the brides are sold. That was so especially in Brahmin community. So he wrote a very pungent satire against that custom in that play. He dealt with that subject in that play. It's mostly about Brahmins. Okay. But the play was a literary classic because it was the first major work that was written in the spoken language, in the spoken dialect. Until that time, the plays or novels or stories are written mostly in a Grandhika Bhasha. You know what I mean? Grandhika Bhasha, the written word. So there is a big gap between the written word and the spoken word. So the common people, like the working class or middle class people who are not well versed with the classics or Grandhika Bhasha, they don't have access to the other literary works. So there was a conscious movement that happened in Telugu language, which they thrived, they struggled to make a spoken language as the standard language to write literature. So this Kanya Sulkam play was written in a wonderful Vyavaharika Bhasha, that is spoken language. So that way, that was a milestone in Telugu literature as well. That's a milestone in Telugu theatre and also Telugu literature. But later, that play was not performed many times by the theatre people. But that work was appropriated more by the literary people than the theatre people. So even today, there are discussions and all the seminars and interpretations of that classic work in the literary circle. Okay, at this point, let me tell you one thing about theatre, because theatre sustained itself on competitions. So there is a rule in these competitions which says that you should attempt a new play every year. You can't work on an old play. So that may be one of the reasons why, though the Kanya Sulkam was a classic, it was never attempted by other theatre people, because most of the theatre people are used to this parishad. So even today, that's the rule. So suppose if Mandal gets a new play in Telugu written by a good writer, so the play starts with him and ends with him. Nobody else will attempt that. Whereas in other states, it's not like that. For example, this Nabanna, a play in Bengali, is done by many directors. Is done by many directors, and people went to see them how this director or that director has interpreted and how they are drawing different meanings from that old classic. Okay, so that was not the case with Telugu theatre. So every year you have to come up with a new play. So that was the reason why. That was one of the main reasons why Kanjasulkam was not taken up by the theatre people. And another thing I can say is here, for some reasons, theatre has cut its links from the mainstream literature. Because the literature people, they don't take a theatre work as a literary work, and they don't consider a play as a literary work. And also, the theatre people, they don't have much to do with the present day literature. What's happening in their storytelling, what's happening in the novels, what's happening in the poetry, whatever. The theatre people, they are also cut off from the mainstream literature. This must have happened mainly due to this Parishat culture. That's one more complaint I have against this Parishat culture, which is, as I told you, the play happens only to please those three judges sitting in the front. So the director even today, he thinks that he knows how to please those judges. So he knows what should go into the play, what should not go into the play, how it will, he knows the formula to win prizes in these parishas. So that's why he has become a very prominent figure in theatre. So if some person who wants to attempt his hand in writing a play, he has to work with a director very actively, right from the day one. It's not like, for example, in other languages, we find a writer writes his own play and comes to a director and ask him to direct that play if he likes it. Whereas the director and the writer sit together and see what is stageable, what is not stageable, what are the changes that are to be made to make it a stage-worthy play and all that. But here, right from the day one, the director directs even the writer. That's the problem. So this way, no self-respecting writer from a literary circle would like to come under the wings of a director. So that's one reason why no literary person worth his name has come to attempt a play in theatre. Okay, that's why, and that's the reason you don't find very many play scripts with its literary values and all that. So that's why the literature, theatre has separated itself totally, has cut its connection to literature. That's one major setback to Telugu theatre. Okay, but lately, about a decade ago, one organization, again, it's a Parishat, okay, they have come up with an idea of adopting literary works into theatre. So it has been happening since last 1 year. So their main rule is you have to come up with a story or a novel which is published. So you have to dramatize it and stage it. But that idea did not catch up with the other Parishat organizers. Other Parishat organizers are still in the same mold. So this is one development. This is one, what I call, I don't call it a development. It's one aspect which made theater to separate itself from literature. So what happened? Whoever is coming to write a play in theater, he is mostly he has been attracted to theater, hoping that he will land himself as a dialogue writer in the films. Okay. Whereas here, my argument is everything is spoon fed by most of the plays are written like that, where most of them are spoon fed by the director. Ultimately, the writers are left as dialogue writers. So my argument here is, if I know if as a director, if I conceive a story and if I conceive the scenes, if I dramatize the story, okay, the same thing I can give it to my actors and ask them to improvise and come up with their dialogues. They are more appropriate. Okay. So these are, I don't call them script writers, mostly they are dialogue writers. And that has happened also with these dialogue writers who practice their hand in theater. They landed into films and they got good offers. And I can cite many such examples. Okay. So, this development of the impact of film and TV has happened mostly with Hyderabad theatre. That's one major thing we can think of. And also, it may have impacted the other groups in other towns and small cities where the actors might have felt that staying in Hyderabad will be helpful for their careers, and that percentage is very less, because staying in Hyderabad is not such a easy idea, especially if they are working or if they are having a careers in their respective towns or villages. So there are some people who migrated to Hyderabad with the hope of landing themselves in TVs and films. So this was the situation.
Thank you ever so much for spending your time with us. We hope you have enjoyed watching the program. Before we say bye-bye, we have a little request. Please spend a second to click on the subscribe button. No, this is not a financial subscription. It only means that you have seen and liked the program and subscribing to this channel so that you can watch many more such programs that we intend to bring to you. Thank you once again.